Hey everyone. Today we're gonna talk about beauty and how beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And what I mean by that is that this is important because it's 2024, and people are talking about the powers of computing and what they call generative AI, or times where um, we are sort of setting up the standards for what is beauty, what people consider to be beautiful, are the framework in which our entire society sort of defines itself. It is based on what we think is beautiful, right? But the reality is, whether it's people's faces or our standards with, how a car should look or how building structures should be made, all of this, it makes us, what I'm trying to say is that I wish that, when it comes to computers, right, we define things, right? We have to tell the computer what something is, what is pretty and what is ugly, right? How should a human look like? And my argument is that there is no standard. There really isn't. If you think about it, throughout history, we have had different standards of beauty. What people consider to be beautiful hundreds of years ago, they like thicker people. People were thicker. They were bigger. They had more. They were more shapely. It wasn't seen as a bad thing. But today, in today's world, it's seen as bad. But there's no reason why, and so and so our society. The reason why I say this is because it's so important that um, that as a society, why should we be beholden? Why should our future generations be doomed into thinking that what we think is important or beautiful is beautiful, right? Or it should be the way it is. Like, why not take an approach? I wish that, with futurism, it was, I always thought or envisioned that it would be a place where possibilities would be opened up. But it seems like the future might be the sort of the restriction and the contraction of creativity, the contraction, because our possibilities are less when we have sort of a bias, when we, okay, this is beautiful and this is not, this is how it should be, this is how a person is supposed to look like. Everyone wants to look like a supermodel, right? Because that's beautiful. But really, like, average looking people, it's crazy, but a lot of people think might be ugly doesn't really have to be ugly, right? It, like, who cares if you don't care about it? If nobody told you that that a certain feature was ugly, and then it wouldn't be ugly. And what's interesting is that it varies around the world too. So, like, you see people in different countries, they have different values, they have different things that they like, that sometimes contradict what other cultures like. And so that's a perfect example of how, um, instead of encourage, like, should those things even be defined, right? Like, why not take this opportunity to sort of change and sort of not necessarily have to, we don't have to make a defined sort of like change. I wish that people would actually make an attempt without really calling us attention to it too much, to just come up with sort of, an idea that it doesn't matter what something looks like a lot, right? Whether it's a building or a person, or what we think people should look like, what we think things should look like really beauty, like, it should be like, why not expand our possibility? Why have the restrictions? And why not allow people to, um, or let new things happen by being a little more open minded, I guess, and not and just and you know what's interesting is I think we'll get used to it, and whatever, so that we don't have to be so insecure about what you look like, let's say. or or worse yet, imagine if people are insecure, and then in the future, everyone kind of designs their, gets like, let's say they have like designer babies where you could design how, an offspring comes out. Like, wouldn't that, why not allow, like, why should it matter, right? Like, in the future, even if somebody looked quote unquote ugly, why would it matter? Why? It literally makes no difference, to the functionality of the human being. It really doesn't. I mean, isn't that a philosophical principle that we could come towards, right? Especially, I mean, it matters evolutionally speaking, right? When because the offspring, right? You might, certain features might be favored, right? According to what might be beneficial to an environment. But, we've moved past that, I think, humanity, to the point where it really doesn't matter what a person looks like. It makes no difference. It shouldn't make a difference, and yet it still does. We are still bound by it, and people say it's biology. It could be people trying to protect themselves or favor certain, favor yourself, I guess, self-serving. It could be that, but really beauty, whether it's physical beauty or beauty when it comes to products, like, it really doesn't matter. At some point, it doesn't matter what color, some things, it doesn't matter, even fashion. Like, it doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter if the color is off. It really doesn't. It's all in the eye of the beholder. And I'm just curious to see if we could live in a world where, all right, it's just in the eye of the beholder. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference, right? Imagine how somebody, the way something looks, maybe intrinsically, maybe at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter at all. Because when it comes to evolution, for example, you might not, it doesn't matter what a person looks like. If, let's say, we all could decide how we wanted to look, like designer babies, which is like I don't know, it's not something current, I don't think, but like, imagine if it was, at that point, it doesn't matter what you look like anymore. So just be however you are. I just wish that as human, I wish that as humans we would move past sort of, and allow our products and our people to be sort of however they are, in the like, allow them to be however, as they are, without having to feel insecure, without having to, because psychologically, that's, to me, it's kind of a more simplistic way of thinking about things, when really we could move past that. So it's kind of a philosophical question, but it has wide implications with our computer systems, how we design it, because these norms are being built into the computers that we are making, the programming that is going into these machines, and the software is one of imbuing our whatever biases we have, whatever, the sort of, and the problem with that is that it's not truly a free, it's not even it's just a reflection of what we are. It's not really, it can't be. It makes it so that, I mean, there's a hope, because it basically means that computers cannot think for themselves. I truly believe that if a computer could think for itself, it would teach us things. Do you know what I mean? And what it would teach us is, hey, it doesn't matter, because from the perspective of a computer or a virus, or then I'm talking I'm talking about life viruses, not computer virus, like just anything, right? Like anything in nature doesn't care what you look like. It really doesn't. Your body doesn't know. The cells in your body doesn't know that you're ugly. It doesn't know that you're considered ugly in your own society. And so likewise, products, right? If a product is yellow or pink or green, it doesn't matter what the color is, right? Like, I wish that, so it's just an interesting way of thinking about things, and I'm curious, um, yeah, like, Imagine if we came to the realization that it doesn't matter how liberating it is actually, because then you could do things without having to think about it. And but the big challenge, of course, is people, because people still bring in, and they still teach it. And with, our current, the way that the trajectory of our current tech technology and Gen AI, they're being built in. It means that all of these biases, all of these ways of thinking are going to keep being transmitted of what's better. This is how you should dress, this is how you should do, and this is how things should look like, and this looks ugly, and this looks pretty. And it's like, well, the world could be so much more. And I wish that they actually could. And to me, it's they're not intelligent. That's proof to me that they're not really intelligent on their own. Because if they were, they would be correcting us, wouldn't they? Or they would tell us, hey, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I think. What do you all think? Thank you.